Hello, my name is Elizabeth Vries, and I am a evolutionary astrologer and writer and artist. And I adore animals. I do a lot of animal work, a lot of animal healing, a lot of um, animal readings. Like if somebody gets a dog from the shelter, or cat, or horse, they call me over and I put my hands on the animal. I can see the life they've been through and help them to accommodate the animal into a new experience and to understand the trauma they went through before so they don't repeat it. And I love doing the animal work. I've worked with animals since I was 4 years old. And that's a hell of a long time. But today, what I wanted to talk about was life reviews. A lot of people have asked me about life reviews. What is a life review? How do I do a life review? Well, the way that I approach a life review is the first thing I do is I sit down and I put my life into segments. Now, I've lived a long time, so I've got quite a few segments to review. But I also want to say that I do a life review every day. So I do a life review over the complete life that I've lived, starting from when I was a very young age. And then I go to the daily life review, where I set out intentions in the morning of what I would wish that day to be. And of course, I always fall short. I always have things I say or do that I regret. I wish I could pull them all back. And so I work with that. I forgive myself. I forgive the other person. And I ask for their forgiveness in my soul. And I move on to the next day. So say you're looking back on your teenage years and you have some specific, very intense situations that you went through. Say you had a really bad sexual experience, or you had a parent die, or a friend commit suicide, or something horrific happened to you that left you in a state of trauma. And as you move forward into your later years, you've carried that wound with you. And sometimes you've allowed that wound to bleed over into affecting other people by what you've been through. So say, for example, as a child, you were abandoned by one of your parents. So you may have a strong issue with that gender of being. Like say you're a woman and your father left, and so you have a strong feeling that men will always abandon you, or you can't trust men to be there, that there's no sense of security and getting your feet on the ground. So when you go back to that trauma, draw out the child, call the child out, put your arms around that child, reassure that child, and look at it for what it is, and ask your Holy Spirit, your deep soul, to help you regain a sense of balance and harmony and wholeness with the other gender. If you had a sexual experience that was very negative, put your hands over that part of your body and ask your body for forgiveness. Ask your body for clearing of that part of your being. We are energy beings. We carry in our energy field not only the imprint of our astrology chart when we are first born, but we also carry the imprint of the traumas we've been through, the sexual experiences. We carry those beings. Say you've had a lot of sexual experiences, and each of those people that you've had an experience with has been with dozens of other people. All of that energy has been taken on by your energetic frame. So you want to go in and you want to ask your guides, your masters, to clear that part of your body, to cut the cords on those energies, and to forgive those people that made you feel violated. At the same time, you may have carried forward that in your life review. You may have carried forward that antagonism to the opposite sex, or judgment of the opposite sex, or wariness, or anger, or fear. You ask for that too to be cleared. You ask for forgiveness of anyone you may have harmed in that regard through being cold or not receiving them with a full surrender and love and caring. Or you may not have honored your own body sexually. And as a result, and I'm just bringing up the sexual issue, can carry into all other expressions of life. But we're starting with that one just to give you an example of how you would take that experience. And you may have felt you let yourself down, or say you were molested as a child, so you never had a lot of self-regard or self-awareness or self-love because of that experience. You somehow blamed yourself. So you go back in the life review, you pull out these individual experiences, you look at what were your intentions in that moment. If your intentions were innocent, if your intentions were to be taken aback by somebody else's behavior and to then feel defensive and have intention with others, I will never let somebody get that close to me again, you could see why it's necessary that you heal that wound, no matter what someone else has done to you or what you have done to others. You have to, so say for example, you have a friend and you really did something nasty to your friend. You are feeling jealous of your friend or in competition with your friend or envious of your friend. And so you did something, gossip behind their back or ran them down in some way or treated them with disdain or coldness or cut them out of your life. Not only do you look at what was your intention with your actions, but you look at, I want to now, okay, I did this to Mary. Now I want to feel, what did Mary feel when I did this to her? I want to feel, I want to empathize with what I did to her, and I want to, at a spiritual level, connect with her soul and ask her forgiveness and tell her, send love to her, and realize that Mary is part of you, that you've been carrying around this guilt or this trauma or this anger or this resentment and carried it forward and let it affect others. So indirectly, a life review is clearing the slate. And I advise people, do this life review while you're still in your body, because when you leave your form, and I am a medium, I work with the other side, and I have talked with hundreds and hundreds of people on the other side. They all tell me, when we do a life review, not only do we look at our own actions, but we also look at the how those people were hurt by us, how that affected them. Like say, for example, we hurt somebody and they, feeling hurt, went out and hurt other people, carrying that hurt forward. That is the why the life review is so important, because instead of allowing ourselves to keep on the hamster wheel of repetition of certain behaviors, we now go back and we clear those behaviors. And if we do that life review while we're still in a physical body, how much easier it is when we cross over. If we make our peace with people now, before we cross over, how much more joyful is our life. I had somebody when I was in my 20s, my late 20s, and I had 5 children to raise. 2 were my stepchildren, 3 were children of my body. I had 5 children, and my husband was crippled. And at that time, money was so scarce and it was so hard to keep everything going, to pay for the food, to keep up the mortgage. It was really tough. And I had at that time a friend that was an old lady, and I would visit her. She was very lonely. I visited her for a long time. And one day she wrote me a check and said, "Darling, I don't need this. I'm going to be on my way soon to the other side. Here's this check. You could pay me back when it works for you." Within a few months of giving me that check, she died. And I felt so terrible that I had not paid her back that money, that I had not been in a position to pay that money back. So what do you do in a case like that? I found in my life, when I went to my life review and that issue came up and I realized the guilt I was carrying from that issue, that I found other elderly people and helped them. So there is a way to take the beautiful deed of somebody else that you were not able to bring back into a karmic balance. Take that deed and take it elsewhere in their name. That is one way to completely wipe the slate clean and to erase your own guilt over something that wasn't intentional. Take advantage of someone, but you felt horrible about it ever since. We've all done stuff that we just feel, oh my God, how did I do that? I mean, we did the best we could at the time. We were ignorant. So we also need to do in our life review, when we look back on some of our actions, we need to look at the intention of our action. Was it to take advantage of someone? Was it selfish? Was it manipulative? Was it traumatizing? Was it self-absorbed? Those are the ones we need to look at and we need to rectify. Now, when we do the rectification of if that person's still alive, trying to make contact with them and to sort it out, if we look at our intention and realize, like I did with that older lady, that I was truly in a desperate situation at that time, and she realized that, and she cared about me deeply, and she wanted to, it made her feel better. But by carrying it forward, by bringing that joy forward to somebody else and doing that act for somebody else and helping somebody else and taking a full-on responsibility for our actions and asking our soul, our Holy Spirit, please help me never ever to do that again. My setting out an intention to never repeat that act. This is so important. It's not just recognizing the act, looking at the intention, looking at the effect it had on the other person, but it's also looking at setting a new tone, getting our train back on the tracks and not repeating the action. So I really, really feel that life review every day when I get up in the morning. I go outside or I sit in my bedroom with my art and I set out a life review. God, not my will, but thy will today. And may I please live with a generosity of spirit, with an open, compassionate heart. And may I grow in wisdom this day. Then at the end of the day, it just takes 5 minutes. Before I go to sleep, I review my day from start to finish. And I look at where I was over the top, where I got way too intense, way too out of control, or feeling guilt, or feeling sad, or staying too long in grief, or whatever it was. And I ask my soul to forgive me, and I ask my soul to help me that I not repeat that behavior, because my deepest intention is to grow in my capacity to love every day and to grow in wisdom. I was saying to somebody the other day that love without wisdom can be foolhardy, and we can do things where we set no boundaries, we live loosely, we live with no value system guiding us, and we allow situations to reoccur that we need not go through again through our own foolishness. Wisdom without love can become harsh, it can become dictatorial, it can become judge and jury. So wisdom, we want to couple it, like Swedenborg said, love and wisdom are why we are here. So every night I ask, did I grow in wisdom today? What did I learn today? How did I expand my essence of being so that more of my soul can be embodied within me? So that wherever I go, wherever I walk and talk throughout the day, that I actually am living from my heart and not hurting others. Of course, I know I'm going to. I know I'm human. I know I've got my frailties. I've got my defenses. I've got issues that I'm still working through. But God grant that these keep lessening and lessening so that I may carry more of my divine soul, my divine self within myself, and share that with others so I can carry more light, so that everywhere I walk, everywhere I talk, I become a satellite station of light and love. So I'm going to end there. There's a lot more I could say about Life Review, and I will get into it another time. And my next video I want to do on Mom Donnie. He's got a very interesting astrological chart, very powerful. And I'm sure you're all wishing to know what that's about. In the meantime, have a beautiful night. And being a Torontonian, I have to say it, I hope the Blue Jays win. There's attachment for you. Love you guys. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like a reading, just write me at angelicmercy44@gmail.com. Thank you.